So in our last podcast, we talked a little bit about what's kind of the surprise additions that were coming up in Etna. There was one on the east side of Etna for 700 doors, as you put it, in what now is a farm field. There's another one that appeared yesterday for 144 more doors going in off of 310. And the question I guess I have is this. Yes, that affects Etna, but it affects the school district, it affects the fire department, it affects sewer and water, it affects policing. What obligation do you feel as a trustee do you have to those other government entities as Etna moves on with developing into whatever it's going to develop into?
Well, as a taxpayer, I have an obligation to make sure that incoming development doesn't overburden the current systems and the current infrastructure. Because ultimately, if those are burdened, guess who gets to pay for it? We do. So it's very important that developers, while they get plenty of incentives to come into different areas and do different things, we don't have to incentivize anybody to come to Etna. We are on the eastern edge of one of the fastest growing cities in the country. And there's so many opportunities to have great companies come in, put up jobs that will keep local families here if they choose to. So many different aspects of things that need to be overviewed through all those different avenues. I am very passionate about the schools, but I'm a father of 4 children. I have 4 girls that are in the school, ages 16, 8, 5, and 3. And they are so much in my mind on this role and what I'd be taking the seat as trustee that if I make decisions that are going to affect them, obviously it's going to affect everyone. And color me a little biased, but I don't want to overcrowd our schools because I think our schools are one of the key points to our area. We've got a tremendous fire district. We've got the water service that's currently expanding and allowing things to happen in Etna and surrounding areas. There's so many benefits to where we're at currently that if we don't do our duty as trustees and make good decisions that are going to benefit and not cripple or hurt the Etna Township taxpayers, that we're just going to pay for it in the long run.
Makes sense. So while we're talking about infrastructure, listen, Etna has all of a sudden become this huge traffic mess, right? And it's not just 40. Just throw some ideas from some situations out. Give me some ideas what you think would be appropriate for them. Let's start with State Route 310 and Refugee Road, which, by the way, if you're there at about 3:30, you could be on 40 or you could be in Pataskla and waiting in line to get through.
One thing that was recently passed at the last one of the last trustee meetings is a partnership between Pataskla and Etna. So what both Pataskla and Etna committed to doing was each entity put $200,000 towards the improvement of that intersection. And because State 310 is a state route, ODOT will be in charge of that project. But by Pataskla and Etna pooling resources and committing to those funds, which will not be expended anytime in the near future, but will be expended in the future if proceeded, that will move that project up on the list. So I think that's actually a great positive that's been going on, is because that is a gesture that has been made to ODOT. ODOT is aware, they're excited because by our local commitment, it's supported by the local government and obviously the citizens that support the local government. How
about Mink and Palmer, which I think are both Etna Township roads? Is that correct?
Yes, they are both. That actually is it was a country road back in the day when a few cars would go by, but it is not a very safe intersection for people that don't know the area and for people that speed through the area. There's a lot of traffic that goes through that area, and we've had some more recent accidents that are just, I think, due to greater traffic. So I don't know what could be immediately done. I mean, there's been proposed of a roundabout, 4-way stop, flashing lights. There's some immediate steps the township could do to put some more safety signs up there to let people know hey, this is a dangerous intersection. You need to slow down, pay attention. But those are the kind of things that you need to look at through the township as a whole. But I know that's been one of the hot buttons recently.
Another hot button, Reynoldsburg decided to build their new high school in what originally was Etna Township land, if I have that correct.
Yes, there's a new school building there, yes.
Yeah, so, but that's increased an enormous amount of traffic on Summit Road.
Right.
And is that something that Etna has to look for, to do something about?
Well, there's currently discussions with Reynoldsburg and Etna Township to improve Summit Road. They're wanting to widen it. They're wanting to add curb and gutter. There's the original proposal had sidewalks and a bike path. That's still being discussed. I don't know if both of those are happening or everything. They're looking for connectivity, which I understand, but some of the residents will lose a lot of their front yard if that happens. So there's some ongoing debate on what's best for everyone. But the state of Ohio is pushing heavily, whether any improvements are done to Summit or not. There will be a light at Summit and Main Street because of that school, because of all the extra traffic and going into that new development that's going in over across from the school. There's a lot of extra traffic on that road that wasn't there several years ago. So that is one area that's being improved upon, and there's currently things being discussed.
Now, I'm sure there's lots of areas we're missing or roads we're missing. It's, you start with one and there's a bunch. I've got one more question for you about roads.
Okay.
Taylor Road in the near the Reynoldsburg area, near the border. And that also is one that seems to have become a major thoroughfare for people cutting around whatever. Is there anything that can be done to that? Is that something that Etna has some say in?
I don't know. That is one question that I don't. Taylor is just a busy road, and I know there's discussion, the state of Ohio, about putting another exit ramp somewhere between 256 and 310. There's nothing, as far as I'm aware, concrete plans exactly where that's going to go or how that will or will not improve Taylor Road. But that is always on the table, I guess. But there's nothing concrete going on right now. But yes, that is a very busy end of the day road to go on.
All right. Enough with road work.
Okay.
It's an important point.
Absolutely.
And it's one that affects everybody who lives in Etna. So, a little bit of controversy here. There's been a controversy about the money going into High Point Park, which for those who don't know is the park in what I would call Old Etna.
Right.
It was the Old Etna Commons back in the day. Can you explain what's going on there and how much the township itself is spending, how much is coming from other entities?
This is going to be a long answer because I think it's important to describe what the New Community Authority, or NCA, is. So the Etna New Community Authority is it was created, and several of the large businesses in the area, including like an Amazon, are charged a millage on square footage. So they're charged 9 cents a square foot that goes into this fund, and that fund is to be used for community improvements. There's no specificity on what it has to be used for in the community improvements. It has to be used for, it's intended to be used for, as basically, I look at it as a yearly donation from our largest corporate entities in here to be used to improve the community. And there have been 2 requests by the Etna Board of Trustees that were voted on and then presented to us as possible funding sources. There was one request for $125,000 and one for $135,000 to renovate, restore, and improve the High Point Park there next to Town Hall. That park dates back to the 1800s, and the last time that anyone can remember that it was truly restored or upgraded was 1990. So that is, it's really a neat little park that's very evasive. There's plenty of people that go in there and walk their dogs, walk the 6 laps around the little walking trail to get their exercise in, because the 6 laps around there is a mile. But they're looking at redoing the whole walkway, some new greenery, some drainage, some lighting. There's all kinds. It's basically going to go a complete restoration of that park. So that's going to be an immediate impact that residents can enjoy now, before the High Point or the large park that's across the road that I know is exciting for everyone. That's going to be a multi-year and multi-million-dollar project. That's a neat impact that the trustees have voted to make now, and I was happy to be a majority of my board to vote yes for that. So
just to explain a little bit, the board you're talking about, the NCA, is that under the Etna Township trustees?
No, that actually, it was created in part with the the support of Etna Township, but I'm one of the resident members, and I was appointed by the county commissioners, and I've been reappointed since then. I've served now for 3 years. So
the money coming from the NCA isn't Etna tax money?
No, it is not Etna tax money. It is again, the best way to describe it, you look at the Amazon building, they are charged yearly a fee of 9 cents a square foot that gets to go into this community fund, and it's for improvements. It is truly going to be utilized by Etna Township and Etna Township trustees looking for areas to improve. And I know the focus currently was on High Point Park for several reasons, and one reason being the upcoming improvement to Pike Street, or old Route 40 there right next to Town Hall and the park. So they were trying to get a lot of things going, because once that's improved, we'll have a brand new refreshed park, a brand new road. It's really going to revitalize that downtown and lead into several other things in that area.
So when folks say, and I've heard people say numbers like $600,000 of Etna money being spent on the park, is that really what's happening?
No, there's alternate funding sources. So the new community authority was the figures I mentioned. There was actually a grant from the Ohio state budget that was petitioned by our state senator Tim Schaefer for Etna Township. That's $150,000 to go towards High Point Park. And there's also Licking County has a park district grant that you can qualify for. It's a 2-for-1 grant, so we're actually going to get, I believe, $79,000, maybe $80,000 from them for High Point Park, but you do have to contribute $2 for every $1 they give you. So Etna Township is contributing $160,000 to High Point Park, but that is the only money coming directly from Etna Township that is going to the park. So I understand people want to use that money for the large park, but I think this is a tremendous opportunity to get something done now. Instead of letting that money sit in the bank and letting the park continue to deteriorate, I think it's a great opportunity. And I think with the kids that go and practice sports there occasionally, and the community events that could be held there with improvements there, the more involvement we could have with that park now would be great compared to waiting for when the new park could be constructed. So
okay, so the new park then is, as I understand it, between 310 and Smoke Road, some portion of land there.
Right.
Has there been much planning done for that yet?
They do have a conceptual plan of how they could lay stuff out in the park. They have looked at that. There has not been any construction yet. The Drayton Hall apartments that you see from 310 and 40, there is a road, that traffic light that leads back to those apartments. That will probably turn into the main entrance of the park, at least initially. But even that road is not completed back to the park. So there's really a couple other moving parts as far as utility right-of-ways and other features that need to be finalized before any real construction or infrastructure could be begun, because the last thing you'd want to do is put a nice, beautiful, brand new road through the park and have to tear it up because you did something too soon. So it's going to be a while. I mean, it's being farmed this year, so it's not going to, unfortunately, be ribbon cutting in the spring, if you know what I mean. I think most people realize that. So.